Today we're going to do the 2020 paper. I think it's November. Yeah, November 2020, I think. Yeah, so combined science. So the first question says, which one is a physical component of an ecosystem? So we're going to discuss this, okay? We're not just going to point you the answer, and we're also going to discuss the other answers. So physical components, there, the buzzword or the key phrase there is physical component, okay, of an ecosystem. So physical components are the characteristics, the physical characteristics of an environment, okay? So physical characteristics. Normally when they use the word physical, in science we usually mean things as opposed to animals or microorganisms. So physical components, the characteristics. So the characteristics can be air, it can be sunlight, or you can say light, or it can be the nutrients, okay? These are some of the things that you look into when you want to analyze an ecosystem, okay? That's why we call them physical components. They don't have soul or anything. They don't have any, what do you call it? They're not living, they're non-living. They're also called abiotic components, okay? And here the suffix, the prefix a just simply means the opposite of biotic, the opposite of living, opposite of bio. So here we choose air. Fungi, they're microorganisms. Bacteria, the microorganisms. Humus, we have microorganisms in humus, but it was a little bit tricky. So the second question says, which is the function of a vacuole in a plant? So a vacuole in a plant, you only found vacuoles, at least the large ones, in plants, okay? And the function is A. They store salts and sugars. So the way that you do it, if you were not sure, was to identify which plant organelles, which cell organelles would fit with the answers here. So controls the activities of the cell. This would be the nucleus. Produces food by photosynthesis. This would be the chloroplasts. If you don't want to write chloroplast there, you can write chlorophyll. It's still okay. Then controls the movement of substances in and out of the cell. This would be the membrane. Okay, so the vacuole would be for the other answer, so that's elimination. Let's move to the third part. Question 3 says the equation of anaerobic respiration muscles is given by the equation below, okay? Glucose, oxygen, something. So the buzzword here, the buzz phrase, it's anaerobic respiration, okay, in muscle cells. So anaerobes, they are animals that do not require oxygen to survive, so it's usually they require carbon dioxide. But then humans, we say that humans, they are facultatively anaerobes. So humans are facultatively anaerobes. It means we can live for a short time without oxygen, okay? So how would we do that? So we do that in muscle cells, by the way. Let's say you're running, you require like a lot of oxygen. So for your body to compensate for that, they do this reaction here. So that's why they actually say in muscle cells. So glucose, NAG, and get lactic acid. So you'd cancel carbon dioxide because carbon dioxide, it's then alcohol would do its alcohol. It's also anaerobic respiration. But the reason we don't choose alcohol is that we are concentrating on muscle cells. If this was a yeast reaction or something like that, then we would choose alcohol. Then water, obviously, water, it's a byproduct where carbon dioxide is involved. So yeah, that's it. So you're supposed to choose lactic acid there. So facultatively anaerobes, that's humans, we do that in our muscle cells, especially during intense exercises. So that's it for question 3. Let's move on to question 4. The diagram, it shows part of the teeth on the upper jaw of a human being. Okay, this one. So this is the structure of your dentals, at least the general one. So the tooth labeled X, you're supposed to know the tooth labeled X. This one, what is it? So these ones, they're called incisor. Okay, they're called incisor. These ones, they're called canine. Just a hint. If you want to know like which ones are called canines here, is this ones because they look like animal teeth. So, for example, dogs are in the canine family. So we actually have these animal teeth. Let me just pull just to show you. Okay, these teeth here, they look like they are animal teeth. You see, if you're imagining vampires, you'd be imagining them with these teeth. They look animalistic. So these teeth, they're called canine. Okay. So you have incisor, canine, premolar, and molar. Premolar simply means before molar, and molar. So how they indicate that these are molar and these are premolar, they usually put these things here. So they are different for premolar and molar, but then here they just bundle them up. So that's it for this question. So you choose, the diagram shows, okay, the tooth labeled X, it would be a canine. Okay, it's the animal tooth. So let's move to question 5. Question 5, what does it say? Okay, the diagram shows a stage in testing a leaf for starch. So we have this diagram, and what's the stage? Why is the stage shown important? So just a little bit background. You see here, this one is called a water bath. It's a very common setup in the chemistry lab. So the reason we use a water bath, there are actually many reasons, a handful of reasons. The purpose of the water bath is to ensure even distribution of heat. Okay, it should be heated evenly. So that's what's happening here. If you heat by direct flame, then you can even see, I think there's an experiment with water where the water starts bubbling like at the bottom, but then here the water will be actually cold. So the stage shown here, we are using alcohol. So whenever you're using alcohol, just know, at least for when you put a leaf there, what you are doing is that you're removing chlorophyll. Okay, you're removing chlorophyll. But let's just discuss a little bit why we remove chlorophyll. So let's just discuss a little bit. So we are removing chlorophyll here. So the answer would be D. But then why do we remove chlorophyll? Because the color change, for if you're testing a leaf for starch, you want the color to change from brown to blue-black. That's the most noticeable color change. And the other tricky part was to kill and open up the cells. Yeah, you actually boil in water. You don't boil in alcohol. Alcohol is to remove the green pigment, which is chlorophyll. Okay, so this one would decide against it, but then it was very close, and don't confuse it. Okay, there are two parts in which we boil when you're testing for starch. The leaf, we boil in water to open up the cell. This one we use water, and then when we boil in ethanol or alcohol, we are boiling it to remove the chlorophyll from the leaf. Okay, so let's quickly move to question 6. Question 6 says an experiment was carried out by planting 80 seeds and 50 seeds germinated. What is the percentage germination? So this one, it's arithmetic, it's math. Okay, so here, how many seeds germinated? It's 50. What's the total number of seeds that you had? It's 80. Then multiply by 100%, of course. We should put this percent here. I don't know why they didn't put here. Maybe just because they said percentage germination. So it would be, remember this one is 50. Okay, I keep writing my 50 wrongly here. Your 5 should be really noticeable. So it should be 50, the seeds that germinated, and out of the total number of seeds, multiply by 100. So it'd be this one B. So that's it. Let's move to question 7. Question 7 says, where does gaseous exchange occur? Gaseous exchange occurs in the alveoli. Okay, when it's one, it's simply called the alveolus. So these are also called air sacs. I think in primary school they call them air sacs. Let me just pull up just a simple drawing here. So here, when you have this trachea, the trachea it's adjacent to the esophagus. Okay, so the trachea, that's for air, and you have one thing. It's called the epiglottis. The epiglottis, it's sort of like a liver. It closes when you want to breathe. It opens up the trachea so that you can breathe, because they are adjacent. It's like having two pipes, in contact with each other. You want sometimes for air to enter into the trachea. You want food to enter into the esophagus. So after you have this, you can think of it as a tree, and then it branches. The major branches there, the bronchus, and then when it branches again, those are the bronchioles. The trachea again, it's this one, this pipe, the windpipe. It's also called windpipe. The alveolus, that's the one after the bronchiole. You have air sacs there. The air sacs there, they are the alveolus, and they are very much adapted to respiration. They are very much adapted to gaseous exchange. Yeah, so you can see here they're exemplifying. So these are air sacs. At the end, you can think of them as fruits here. That's it. Let's move to the next part. And also just a note. Go and find out why the alveolus is adapted for respiration. Why is it important? What are the features that make it very, very efficient in gaseous exchange? So yeah, but for now, let's move to the next part. So the next part, what does it say? Which one is not a function carried out by blood? This one was a little bit tricky, because most of these functions, as I saw them, they're actually the functions of the blood. But then the one that you should pick, it should be excretion. Let me explain defense first. Defense, you have the phagocytes and the other cells, specialized cells that defend the body, that defend the body against infection. So those ones, they're carried by the blood, and they also reside in the blood. So that's one function of the blood. And transport, the blood transports like nutrients. It also transports gases. It also transports waste products from the body to certain parts that work as filters. Homeostatic function of the blood regulates a lot of things, including temperature, body temperature, or by which the regulation of the human body system is called homeostasis. So the optimal conditions that allow the human body system to function, they are controlled in part by these systems we call homeostatic systems. And then excretion, the reason we chose excretion is that if you remember the organs of excretion, they are the skin, the liver, the large intestines, the lungs, and the kidney. And you be the kidneys. You actually never find blood there. So blood is not the organ for that. So just a quick note there. So that's the reason why we chose excretion. Let's move to question 9. So question 9 says, why is transpiration good for a plant? So it's good for 2 reasons. It cools the plant first. You should know this. It cools the plant, but then we don't see that answer there. And then the other reason is that it helps the plant to take up water and mineral salts. Okay, this one is supposed to choose this one. What helps the plant to transport sugars around the plant is different. It helps maintain a balance of starch is different. It helps keep the plant turgid. This one it's a cell wall. But anyway, you should know the 2 roles of the for transpiration. The first one is that it cools the plant. The second one is that it helps take up water and mineral salts. Let's move to question 10. Question 10 says the diagram shows the double circulation system in humans. Which blood vessels are thick-walled? So the blood vessels which are thick-walled, here you could attack it from a mechanics point of view. So if you have the heart, you want the blood to be able to reach the limbs, so the lower part of the heart. So the blood actually has to travel like a long distance. This blood would obviously be oxygenated. So you want the one that you choose was this. If you didn't know, you choose this because it makes sense from a mechanical perspective. So how things move. So this one is called the iota. So iota would be 3, and then you'd have to think, of course, which other one should be with the iota. So it should be this one. When blood is being pumped from the heart, from the heart, it's so this one. So the other one would be this one here. It's called the pulmonary artery. Okay. So there's this one. So it'd be 1 and 3. 1 and 3. Okay. So another thing to note is that the pulmonary artery, I think this is the only artery that carries deoxygenated blood. Okay. But usually arteries, they carry oxygenated blood. And then the aorta, it carries like oxygenated blood, obviously. And in the diagram, in the double circulation circulation system diagram for humans, they usually denote the the oxygenated blood is red and the deoxygenated blood is blue or blue black. So the reason they do that is it's actually true. The deoxygenated blood, it's bluish in color. In some people, you can see it like through their veins, especially if you're very light in complexion. But the reason when they get cut, you never actually see blue blood, is that the blood immediately oxygenates. So when you expose the blood to air, the oxygen of it immediately enters the blood, and then you have red blood again. So I just wanted to point that out. So this was one question 1 through 10, and we're going to do question 10 through 20 in the next section. So thanks for watching.